I still remember the shock on my fiancé's face when he walked into the examination room with his pregnant co-worker. He froze, I froze, as the ultrasound image appeared on the screen. That's when I realized the woman carrying my fiancé's child wasn't just any patient. She was his assistant who had been texting him at 2 a.m. for work emergencies. But what they didn't know was that I had already replaced our wedding invitations and chosen a much better man to stand at the altar. The last patient of the day. That's what Dr. Leung had promised before he transferred the case to me. Just a routine prenatal checkup, Maya. I've got a family emergency. I'd been on my feet for 14 hours straight, but I couldn't say no. One more patient, then I could go home to my empty apartment and the wedding planning binder I'd been neglecting. I flipped through the chart as I walked down the hallway. Sophia Chin, 28, first pregnancy, approximately 24 weeks. Everything looked normal. I knocked twice and pushed open the door, my professional smile already in place. That's when time stopped. Ryan, my fiancé Ryan, stood there beside the examination table, holding the hand of a petite woman with a pronounced baby bump. His normally confident face drained of color when he saw me. Dr. Shah, he managed, using my professional name instead of Maya, or Babe, or any of the dozen pet names he usually called me. The woman, Sophia, looked between us, confused but not understanding. She didn't know who I was. But I knew exactly who she was. Sophia Chin, Ryan's brilliant assistant, who needed his guidance at all hours of the night. The same assistant whose name lit up his phone at 2 a.m. with urgent work matters that required immediate attention. Mr. Walker, I replied with perfect professional courtesy, my medical training kicking in to mask the earthquake happening inside me. And Miss Chin, I'm Dr. Shah, filling in for Dr. Leung today. Ryan's Adam's apple bobbed as he swallowed hard. Paya, I can explain. Please help Miss Chin lie back on the table, I interrupted, pulling on latex gloves with a snap that made him flinch. This shouldn't take long. Sophia still seemed oblivious, smiling nervously as she reclined. Do you two know each other? Before Ryan could answer, I responded smoothly, Mr. Walker and I are acquainted, yes. I squeezed the cold gel onto her exposed abdomen. This will feel a little cool. The ultrasound wand glided over her skin as I focused on the monitor, my training taking over while my mind screamed. 24 weeks. 6 months pregnant. Ryan had proposed to me exactly 6 months ago on my birthday. There's your baby, I said, pointing to the screen where a perfectly formed little human floated in grayscale. I took measurements, checked the heart rate, all while feeling my own heart shatter into pieces. Everything looks healthy. Would you like to know the gender? Yes. Sophia exclaimed while Ryan remained frozen, staring at me with pleading eyes. It's a boy, I announced, trying to keep my voice steady. Congratulations. Did you hear that, Ryan? A boy. Sophia grabbed his hand, squeezing it excitedly. That's when I noticed it, the diamond tennis bracelet on her wrist. My bracelet. The one Ryan had given me last Christmas, the one he claimed I must have misplaced 2 months ago. I need to step out for a moment to print your images, I said, standing abruptly. Please wipe the gel and I'll be right back. In the hallway, I leaned against the wall, trembling. But then I heard their voices through the thin door. What the hell is she doing here? Sophia hissed. You said she works at Memorial on the other side of town. I didn't know she'd be here today. Ryan's voice was panicked. This complicates everything. Complicates what? Just tell her the truth. You love me, not her. You're only marrying her for her family's connections to the hospital board. The words hit me like physical blows. I pressed my hand against my mouth to stifle any sound. Keep your voice down, Ryan whispered harshly. This isn't how I wanted this to happen. We need that board position if we're going to afford a house before the baby comes. I straightened my white coat, dried the single tear that had escaped, and walked to the nurse's station. I printed the ultrasound images with steady hands, then returned to the room where they both fell silent as I entered. Here are your images, Miss Chin, I said, handing her the envelope. Everything looks perfectly healthy. I'd recommend scheduling your next appointment in 4 weeks. Ryan couldn't meet my eyes. Why, If you'll excuse me, I cut him off. I have paperwork to complete. Congratulations again on your baby boy. I walked out, closed the door softly behind me, and made it to the staff bathroom before the first sob escaped my throat. With shaking hands, I pulled out my phone and texted my best friend Zara. Need you. Hospital. Now. Then I texted Aiden, the neurosurgeon who'd been asking me to dinner for months. Are you free tomorrow night? I'd like to take you up on that dinner offer. I stared at my reflection in the mirror. The woman Ryan thought he could use as a stepping stone to success. That woman was gone. In her place stood someone new, someone with a plan. The rain pounded against my windshield as I sat in the hospital parking garage, unable to drive home yet. Each drop echoed the memories flooding back. All the signs I'd ignored, all the red flags I'd dismissed as nothing. He's working late again, I'd tell my friends, proud of his ambition. Ryan and I had met during my residency 5 years ago. He was the charming pharmaceutical rep who brought lunch to the doctor's lounge every Thursday. I was the exhausted resident who couldn't resist his smile or the premium coffee he always saved just for me. Doctors save lives, but who saves the doctors? He'd asked the first time he handed me that steaming cup. I'm Ryan, by the way. 2 years of dating, then the extravagant proposal at my parents' annual charity gala. My father, Dr. Vikram Shah, chairman of the hospital board, had beamed with approval as Ryan went down on one knee in front of 300 guests. My mother had already started planning the wedding before I'd even said yes. A knock on my car window jolted me back to reality. Zara stood there, rain dripping from her umbrella. I unlocked the door and she slid into the passenger seat. What happened? She asked, reaching for my hand. The words caught in my throat. Ryan, he's been having an affair. With his assistant. Sophia. Zara's lack of surprise made my stomach sink further. You knew. My voice cracked. Zara's eyes filled with guilt. I suspected. There were rumors at the hospital fundraiser last month. They disappeared for an hour and... She trailed off. I didn't want to tell you without proof. I'm so sorry, Maya. She's pregnant, I whispered. 6 months pregnant. Zara's gasp was audible. 6 months. But that's when he proposed to me. Yes. I squeezed the steering wheel until my knuckles turned white. And she's wearing my Christmas bracelet, the one he said I lost. That bastard, Zara muttered. What are you going to do? I stared straight ahead. I need to see exactly what I'm dealing with. 20 minutes later we were in my apartment. The one Ryan and I were supposed to move out of after the wedding. He'd insisted we keep separate places until then, claiming some nonsense about tradition. Now I understood why. I need access to everything, I told Zara as I opened my laptop. Our shared cloud account, credit card statements, everything. Are you sure you want to see this? Zara asked gently. I need to. The evidence was worse than I imagined. Photos of them together dating back 18 months. Weekend trips disguised as pharmaceutical conferences. Charges on my credit card for jewelry, expensive dinners, even a weekend at the Vineyard Resort where Ryan had first told me he loved me. He took her to our special place, I whispered, staring at the receipt. But the final blow came when I found the email confirming his real estate appointment, to view houses in the suburbs. Houses with nurseries. The appointment was scheduled for next week, 2 weeks before our wedding. Maya, Zara began cautiously, everyone at Memorial knows about them. That's why Dr. Leung transferred her case to you today. You. What? The betrayal expanded beyond Ryan to include my colleagues. Nurse Patel told me they've been quite open at his company events. Sophia even wears your engagement ring sometimes, claims it's from him. My engagement ring. I looked down at the 3-carat diamond on my finger. Had it adorned her hand too? Wait, I said suddenly, opening a new browser tab. I need to check something. I logged into the patient portal with my doctor credentials. Sophia's medical history appeared on screen. Previous appointments all with Dr. Leung. Previous pregnancy. Terminated 2 years ago. There's another pregnancy in her history, I murmured. Is it? Zara leaned closer. I can't tell who the father was, I said. But the timing, it was when Ryan and I were going through that rough patch he never wanted to discuss. The pieces were clicking together. The unexplained absences. The sudden business trips. The way he'd withdrawn from me physically for months, claiming stress from work. There's more, I said, scrolling through credit card statements. He's been paying her rent. For 2 years. 2 years? But you've only been engaged for 6 months, I finished. This isn't just an affair, Zara. I'm the other woman. I'm the one he's been using. My phone buzzed with a text from Ryan, working late tonight. Don't wait up. Love you. At the same moment, an email notification appeared on my laptop. The catering company for our wedding was confirming the final payment. 300 guests. 5-course dinner. $20,000 deposit non-refundable. I picked up my phone and opened my conversation with Aiden. About tomorrow. Can we meet sooner? I need to discuss something important. Zara squeezed my shoulder. What are you thinking? I removed my engagement ring slowly, then placed it on the counter with a decisive clink. The wedding is still happening, I said, my voice eerily calm. But I'm making some adjustments to the guest list. Why? Starting with the groom. Aiden was already waiting when I arrived at Vare, the upscale restaurant overlooking the city skyline. He stood as I approached, his tall frame elegant in a tailored charcoal suit. Those dark eyes, always so perceptive, immediately noticed something was wrong. Why? He said, pulling out my chair. You look beautiful but troubled. I hadn't bothered changing out of my work clothes. A simple blouse and pencil skirt under my now absent white coat. I'd only taken time to remove my engagement ring, leaving a pale band of skin in its place. Thank you for meeting me on such short notice, I said, accepting the glass of water the server poured. I've been waiting for you to accept my dinner invitation for months, Aiden replied with a gentle smile. Though I admit your sudden change of heart has me curious. Aiden Desai, brilliant neurosurgeon, son of my father's oldest friend, and the man Ryan had always viewed as his professional rival. The man who had watched me from afar with those knowing eyes that saw too much. I need to be direct, I said after ordering a much-needed glass of wine. My engagement is over. Or it will be as soon as I tell Ryan. Aiden's expression remained carefully neutral. I'm sorry to hear that. No, you're not, I said, unable to stop a small smile from forming. You're right, I'm not, he admitted, his honesty refreshing after months of Ryan's lies. But I am sorry you're hurting. What happened? I told him everything. The examination room, the pregnancy, the evidence I'd uncovered. Aiden listened without interruption, his jaw tightening only when I mentioned the bracelet. He gave your gifts to her? The controlled anger in his voice matched the simmering rage I'd been suppressing. That's not even the worst part, I said, drinking my wine too quickly. He's only marrying me for my family connections. He needs my father to secure the new pharmaceutical contract with the hospital. The $10 million Walker Pharmaceuticals deal, Aiden nodded. The board votes next month. You knew about this? Asked, surprised. I'm being considered to head the new neurosurgery wing. Your father mentioned the pharmaceutical partnership was a key funding component. He leaned forward. Maya, if Ryan's company gets that contract, he stands to make millions. Your wedding is 2 weeks before the vote. The timing wasn't coincidental. Nothing about Ryan's actions had been coincidental. What are you going to do? Aiden asked. I set my glass down carefully. I'm still figuring that out. Part of me wants to expose him immediately, but you want him to feel what you're feeling, Aiden finished. The betrayal. The humiliation. Is that terrible of me? I looked up, meeting his gaze. It's human, he said simply. And after what he's done, he deserves worse. The waiter arrived with our entrees, momentarily pausing our conversation. When he left, Aiden spoke again, his voice lower. I have a proposition, he said. One that might help us both. I'm listening. Your father respects you, but he's traditional. If you simply break off your engagement to Ryan, he'll be concerned about the pharmaceutical deal falling through. But if you had already moved on. I caught his meaning immediately. With someone he respects even more than Ryan. Precisely. Aiden's fingers tapped thoughtfully against the table. We could appear to be involved. It would give you time to figure out how to handle Ryan while preventing your father from pushing you to reconcile for business reasons. You want us to fake a relationship? The idea was absurd yet strangely appealing. Think about it, Maya. We're seen together publicly. Ryan gets jealous and careless. Meanwhile, you maintain your dignity and professional standing. I considered his offer. Aiden had always been Ryan's intellectual superior. Harvard Medical to Ryan's State College, distinguished research publications to Ryan's sales awards. Ryan had been jealous of him from the moment they'd met at my parents' home 3 years ago. Why would you do this? I asked, genuinely curious. Aiden's expression softened. Because I've watched you settle for less than you deserve for years. Because Ryan Walker has never appreciated the brilliant woman you are. And because, he paused, seeming to consider his next words carefully, I've wanted to ask you to dinner since the day we met at your father's retirement party 7 years ago. 7 years. I blinked in surprise. But you never said anything. You were focused on your residency. Then when I finally gathered the courage, you were with Ryan. He shrugged. I respect boundaries, Maya. Something warm unfurled in my chest. Appreciation for his honesty, for his respect. There's more, I said, remembering the other revelation from my investigation. Sophia had another pregnancy 2 years ago. She terminated it, but the timing coincides with when Ryan and I briefly separated. Aiden's eyes widened slightly. So this pattern has been ongoing. Yes. And tomorrow I'm going to search our apartment while he's at work. I need to know exactly what I'm dealing with. Aiden reached across the table, his hand covering mine. The gesture was supportive, not presumptuous. You don't have to do this alone, he said quietly. I turned my hand to grip his. Decision made. So, Dr. Desai, shall we give them something to talk about? His slow smile was answer enough. Ryan didn't come home that night, not that I expected him to. His text claimed an emergency meeting, but Instagram told a different story. Sophia had posted a candlelit dinner with my love at La Maison, the French restaurant Ryan had once told me was too pretentious for our date nights. I woke early, methodically preparing for the day's performance. Business suit, elegant makeup, hair carefully styled. My left hand felt lighter without the engagement ring, but I slipped it back on. For now. The game required patience. By 9, I'd entered our apartment building's parking garage just as Ryan's BMW pulled out. Perfect timing. He hadn't seen me. The apartment felt different now, as if the truth had altered its physical dimensions. I moved through the spaces with new awareness, noting how few of Ryan's personal items were actually here. A couple of suits in the closet. Toiletries in the bathroom. His presence was carefully calibrated, enough to appear committed without actually committing. In the home office I found the first real evidence. Hidden behind medical journals on the bookshelf, a leather portfolio contained property listings. All in neighborhoods I'd specifically said I didn't want to live in, all conveniently close to Sophia's apartment. I photographed each page. His desk drawers revealed more. A second phone I'd never seen before, probably used exclusively for contacting her. A receipt for a baby crib, scheduled for delivery next month. And most damning, a draft prenuptial agreement. Not the one we'd discussed with our lawyers, but a new version heavily weighted in his favor, designed to protect his anticipated pharmaceutical windfall. I was photographing the documents when my phone rang. Dr. Patel, the chief of obstetrics. Dr. Shah, her crisp voice came through the speaker. I need to speak with you about yesterday's patient transfer. My stomach tightened. Yes, Dr. Patel? Ms. Chin has requested you as her primary physician moving forward. She specifically asked for you by name. There was a pause. Given your personal connection to the situation, I wanted to consult you before approving the request. So word had already spread. I'd expected nothing less in a hospital where gossip traveled faster than antibiotic-resistant bacteria. You know, I stated rather than asked. Maya. Her voice softened, using my first name. Everyone knows. Ryan hasn't exactly been discreet. I'm concerned about the ethical implications of you treating your fiancé's other relationship. The word hung between us, neither of us willing to say mistress or affair. I appreciate your concern, I said carefully, but I believe I can maintain professional boundaries. In fact, I would prefer to continue as her physician. May I ask why? Dr. Patel sounded skeptical. Because keeping your enemies closer is the oldest strategy in warfare, I thought. Instead, I said, because separating my personal and professional responsibilities is what makes me a good doctor. I won't let this affect patient care. After a moment, Dr. Patel sighed. Very well. Her next appointment is in 2 weeks. And Maya, my door is always open if you need to talk. I thanked her and hung up, smiling slightly at this unexpected development. Sophia requesting me as her doctor was either incredibly naive or deliberately provocative. Either way, it served my purposes. My phone buzzed with a text from Aiden. Lunch at the hospital cafe? Let the performance begin. I texted back my agreement, then continued my search of the apartment. In the kitchen, I found a hidden key taped under a drawer. A key that didn't match any lock in our apartment. Interesting. By noon, I'd photographed everything incriminating and was seated across from Aiden in the bustling hospital cafe, strategically positioned for maximum visibility. He'd brought me a gourmet salad and sparkling water, my usual lunch that Ryan never remembered. You look exhausted, he observed quietly. Did you find what you needed? More than I expected, I admitted, keeping my voice low. Including a key I can't identify. Storage unit, perhaps? Or a secret love nest? Aiden suggested, taking a bite of his sandwich. Either way, I'll find out. I paused as I noticed several colleagues watching us with undisguised interest. We have an audience. Aiden casually reached across the table, his hand covering mine where it rested beside my water glass, the hand with my engagement ring. His thumb brushed lightly over the diamond. That should get the rumor mill working, he murmured, dark eyes holding mine with unexpected intensity. The touch sent an unexpected shiver through me, one that had nothing to do with our performance. I found myself wondering how I'd never noticed the quiet strength in his gaze before. A flash of movement caught my attention. Ryan stood frozen at the cafe entrance, staring at our joined hands, his face a mask of disbelief. Beside him, Dr. Vikram Shah, my father, followed his gaze with raised eyebrows. I didn't pull my hand away. Instead, I leaned closer to Aiden, laughing softly as if he'd just shared an intimate joke. Ryan and my father just walked in, I whispered through my smile. Aiden's expression remained warmly attentive. What would you like to do? I intertwined my fingers with his, the engagement ring catching the light. Exactly what we're doing. Let him come to us. Ryan was already heading our way, purpose in every step. The game had officially begun. What the hell is this? Ryan's voice cut through the hospital cafe's ambient noise as he reached our table. Several heads turned, eager for drama. My father lingered a few steps behind, his expression carefully neutral but eyes sharp with interest. I withdrew my hand from Aiden's with deliberate slowness. Ryan, what a surprise seeing you here. I texted you 3 times this morning, he said, jaw tight with barely contained anger. His eyes flicked to Aiden. I didn't realize you were too busy to respond. Dr. Desai and I were discussing the Peterson case, I replied smoothly. You know how those arteriovenous malformations can be particularly challenging during pregnancy. Aiden nodded professionally. Dr. Shah's obstetrical expertise has been invaluable. We're considering co-authoring a paper on it. My father chose that moment to step forward. That sounds fascinating, Maya. Perhaps you could share your findings at the next board meeting. He extended his hand to Aiden. Dr. Desai, always good to see you. Dr. Shah. Aiden stood to shake my father's hand. I was just telling Maya how much I'm looking forward to the hospital gala next week. I assume we'll see you there as well, Mr. Walker? Ryan's face flushed. The hospital gala, where the pharmaceutical contract would be announced. Where he needed to appear as the perfect future son-in-law. Of course, Ryan managed, his salesman's smile sliding into place. Maya and I wouldn't miss it. Excellent. My father checked his watch. I should get going. Maya, dinner this weekend? Your mother is insisting on finalizing the wedding menu. The wedding. My fictional nuptials to the man standing beside me, seething with jealousy while his pregnant mistress waited across town. Actually, Dad, I said, touching my engagement ring thoughtfully, there are some things I wanted to discuss with you and Mom about the wedding. Some adjustments I'm considering. Ryan's eyes widened in alarm. Adjustments? Maya, we finalized everything weeks ago. Did we? I asked innocently. Like we finalized our living arrangements? Or our future plans? My father glanced between us, sensing tension. Well, I'll leave you young people to sort this out. Maya, call your mother. She's been trying to reach you. After my father departed, Ryan dropped his friendly facade. He gripped my arm, pulling me slightly away from Aiden. What are you doing? He hissed. First you skip out last night without telling me where you were. Now you're getting cozy with Desai and talking about adjustments to the wedding? I extracted my arm from his grip. I was working late. Just like you were. The sarcasm in my voice was unmistakable. Ryan's eyes narrowed. Is this about yesterday? I can explain that. I have patients waiting, I interrupted, gathering my things. We'll talk later. Tonight, he insisted. I'll come over at 8. Fine. I stood, nodding to Aiden. Thank you for lunch, Dr. Desai. That research article you mentioned sounds fascinating. Aiden rose as well, his height making Ryan seem smaller by comparison. My pleasure, Dr. Shaw. I'll email you those journal references. His eyes met mine with meaningful intensity. Take care. I left Ryan standing there, watching as Aiden and I walked away in separate directions. In the elevator, my phone buzzed with a message from Zara. Emergency in exam room 3. Your special patient is here. Special patient? I stepped off at the obstetrics floor and headed toward exam room 3. When I opened the door, I froze. Sophia sat on the examination table alone, her face streaked with tears. Miss Chen, I said, professional mask slipping into place. Your appointment wasn't scheduled until next week. I know, she sniffled, hands protectively cradling her belly. I've been having cramps since last night. Not regular contractions, just pain. Despite everything, my medical training took precedence. I washed my hands and approached her. How severe is the pain on a scale of 1 to 10? Maybe a 6? It comes and goes. She watched me nervously. I know this is awkward, but I trust you as a doctor. I pulled on gloves. Lie back, please. I'll need to examine you. As I checked her vitals and palpated her abdomen, I maintained professional detachment. The ultrasound revealed nothing concerning. No placental issues, no cervical changes. Everything appears normal, I said, removing my gloves. But given your discomfort, I'd recommend bed rest for the next 24 hours. Stress can cause these symptoms during pregnancy. Sophia nodded, then surprised me by bursting into fresh tears. I'm sorry, she gasped between sobs. I can't do this anymore. The lying, the hiding. I stood perfectly still, unsure how to respond. He told me you were terrible, she continued, wiping her eyes. Cold. Career-obsessed. That you didn't want children or a real family life. But you're not like that at all. My heart pounded. Miss Chen. Please call me Sophia. She looked up, vulnerability in her eyes. I didn't know about you at first, I swear. By the time I found out he was engaged, I was already. She gestured to her belly. This isn't an appropriate conversation, I said firmly. Wait. She grabbed my wrist suddenly. There's something you should know. About Ryan. About the company. I hesitated, professionalism warring with curiosity. He's been falsifying clinical trial data, she whispered. For their new heart medication. People could die, Dr. Shah. The revelation hit me like a physical blow. This wasn't just about infidelity anymore. It was about patients' lives. Why are you telling me this? I asked, voice barely audible. Because yesterday when I saw how you treated me, with dignity despite everything, I realized I've been helping the wrong person. Her eyes met mine. And because I'm afraid of what he'll do when he finds out. Finds out what? Sophia placed her hands protectively over her belly again. That this baby isn't his. How do you know about cardiosure? Ryan's voice dropped to a dangerous whisper. I maintained eye contact, refusing to be intimidated. Does it matter? What matters is that I know Ryan. I know everything. You don't know anything, he scoffed, but his confident mask was slipping. You're a gynecologist, not a cardiologist. You couldn't possibly understand the complexity of. Of falsifying clinical trial data? I interrupted. Of hiding severe side effects that could kill patients? That doesn't seem so complex to me. It seems criminal. Ryan's face paled. He moved toward me suddenly, gripping my upper arms. Who have you told? Your father? Desai. I wrenched away from him. Let go of me. You don't understand what's at stake here, he hissed. This deal means everything to the company. To us. There is no us, Ryan. I stepped back, increasing the distance between us. There never really was. His expression transformed then, the charming mask completely discarded. So that's it? You're throwing away 5 years because of one mistake. This wasn't one mistake, I said. It's been 2 years of lies. 2 years of you sleeping with Sophia while planning a future with me, or rather with my family connections. Ryan's strategy shifted again, his eyes softening as he adopted a pleading tone. Maya, baby, I admit I made a terrible mistake with Sophia. But it didn't mean anything. She seduced me during a vulnerable time when you were so focused on your career. Spare me the victim act, I said coldly. I found the key to your secret apartment. I know about the crib you ordered. The weekend trips while I was working hospital shifts. His eyes narrowed at this. You went through my things. Invaded my privacy. Privacy. I laughed incredulously. You lost the right to privacy when you brought your pregnant girlfriend to my examination room. She's not pregnant with my child, Ryan blurted, then immediately looked like he regretted the admission. I know that too, I said quietly, watching confusion flash across his face. He hadn't known that I knew. What I don't understand is why you're still playing this game. The wedding, the contract, all of it. It's over, Ryan. Nothing is over until I say it's over, he growled, desperation making him dangerous. Do you have any idea what your father will do when he finds out his perfect daughter has been sleeping with Aiden Desai behind my back? We both know I haven't been, I replied calmly. But it's interesting that's where your mind went first. Projection, perhaps? Ryan stalked to the kitchen counter, picking up his car keys. This conversation is pointless. You're emotional and not thinking clearly. We'll talk tomorrow when you've calmed down. The engagement is over, Ryan, I stated firmly. I want you to move your things out by the weekend. He froze, then turned slowly. You're making a massive mistake. That contract is worth millions. Your father has already all but guaranteed it to Walker Pharmaceuticals. Not once he sees the real clinical data. Ryan's laugh was cold. You think Vikram Shah, hospital board chairman and notorious stickler for family reputation, will choose scientific integrity over his daughter's engagement to a rising pharmaceutical executive? You're more naive than I thought. His words hit a nerve. My father was traditional, image-conscious. But surely when presented with evidence of fraud. The gala is in 3 days, Ryan continued, sensing my hesitation. We will attend together as planned. You will wear your engagement ring and smile for the board members. After the contract is signed, we can mutually decide to postpone the wedding. Everyone saves face. And patients die from CardioSure's side effects, I added flatly. Ryan shrugged. Medical progress always has casualties. Your father understands this reality. The casual cruelty of his statement finalized something in me. I walked to the door and opened it. Get out. Maya. Get out. I shouted, my composure finally breaking. It's over, Ryan. All of it. He stalked toward the door but paused beside me. Think carefully about your next move, he warned quietly. If I go down, your father's reputation goes with me. The prestigious Shah family name, dragged through medical ethics investigations and fraud allegations. Is that what you want? I met his gaze steadily. What I want is to be a doctor who doesn't harm patients. Something you clearly wouldn't understand. After he left, I collapsed onto the sofa, hands shaking with delayed adrenaline. I pulled out my phone and called Aiden. Maya. His voice was instantly alert. Are you okay? He threatened my father's reputation, I said without preamble. Said if the CardioSure contract falls through, he'll make sure my father is implicated in the fraud. He's bluffing, Aiden reassured me. Your father hasn't seen the clinical data yet. But he's been pushing the contract, I countered. What if there's a paper trail suggesting he knew? Then we need that evidence Sophia mentioned, Aiden said decisively. And we need it before the gala. I hesitated, then made a decision. There's something else. Something about the baby. After I explained Sophia's full confession, silence stretched across the line. This changes everything, he finally said. Meet me at the hospital in 20 minutes. We need to find Sophia now. Why? What's wrong? Ryan just walked into the emergency department. Aiden's voice was tight with urgency. He's demanding to see Sophia's medical records, claiming spousal privilege. He's not her husband, I protested. The front desk doesn't know that. And Maya, he's with your father. My blood ran cold. I'm on my way. The hospital's emergency department buzzed with typical evening chaos. Nurses rushing between curtained beds, residents consulting with attending physicians, families anxiously waiting for news. I spotted Ryan and my father immediately at the nurse's station, Ryan gesticulating emphatically while my father stood with arms crossed, his expression grave. Aiden intercepted me before I could approach them. Maya, he whispered urgently, pulling me into an empty consultation room. Sophia's here. 3rd trimester bleeding. She's stabilized, but she's asking for you specifically. What happened? My doctor's instincts immediately overrode personal drama. She claims she fell in her apartment, but the nurses suspect otherwise. There are bruises on her arms that don't match her story. His implication was clear. Ryan, I breathed, horror washing through me. Where is she now? Room 4, under observation. I've flagged her chart so Ryan can't access it, but your father's authority supersedes those restrictions. I straighten my shoulders. I need to see her first, then deal with them. Sophia lay in the hospital bed looking smaller than I remembered, monitors beeping steadily beside her. Relief washed over her face when she saw me. Dr. Shah, she whispered. He knows. About the baby not being his. He came to my apartment after leaving you. I checked her vitals while she spoke, noting her elevated blood pressure. Did he hurt you, Sophia? She hesitated, then nodded almost imperceptibly. Not directly. He threw things, knocked over a shelf. I fell trying to get away from him. Her hand moved protectively to her belly. The baby's okay, right? Heart rate is strong, I assured her after checking the monitor. But we need to monitor you overnight. He said he'd destroy both of us, she continued, voice trembling. That no one would believe either of us over him. Then he got a call and left suddenly. A call from my father, I realized aloud. Sophia, we need that evidence about CardioSure. Now. She nodded weakly. There's a flash drive in my purse. Everything's there, emails, original trial data, internal memos about covering up the cardiac complications. I retrieved the small black drive from her bag, gripping it tightly. Stay here. Security is right outside your door. Maya, she called as I reached the doorway. I'm sorry. For everything. I paused, studying the woman who had complicated my life so thoroughly. Take care of your baby, Sophia. That's what matters now. In the hallway, I pocketed the flash drive and took a deep breath before walking deliberately toward my father and Ryan. Their heated discussion halted abruptly when they saw me. Maya, my father began, relief evident in his voice. What's going on? Ryan says a lot of things, Dad, I interrupted. Most of them lies. Ryan stepped forward, face flushed with anger. She's trying to sabotage the CardioSure contract because she found out about a meaningless affair. This is personal, not professional. Is that what you told him? I asked, turning to my father. That I'm just a jealous, emotional woman whose fiancé cheated? My father looked uncomfortable. He explained there was a misunderstanding with an employee. A misunderstanding, I repeated flatly. Dad, Ryan has been living a double life for 2 years. He only proposed to me to secure the hospital contract for a medication with falsified safety data. That's absurd, Ryan scoffed. Vikram, your daughter is making wild accusations because she's upset about. I have proof, I cut in, patting my pocket where the flash drive sat. Complete evidence of data manipulation, covered up deaths in clinical trials, and internal communications about using my relationship with you, Dad, to push the contract through. My father's expression shifted from confusion to cold fury. Is this true? Ryan's confident facade cracked. Vikram, I can explain the data discrepancies. Standard statistical adjustments. And the woman in room 4? I pressed. Your pregnant assistant who you've been seeing for 2 years? The one who's in the emergency room because you terrorized her tonight. She fell, Ryan insisted desperately. It was an accident. Dad, I said quietly. There are security cameras in the apartment building. We can review the footage. My father's jaw tightened as he looked between us. The brilliant doctor and hospital administrator I'd admired my whole life seemed to be making calculations behind his eyes. Mr. Walker, he finally said, his voice glacial, I suggest you leave this hospital immediately before I call security. The contract discussion is indefinitely suspended pending investigation. You can't do that, Ryan sputtered. The board vote is in 3 days. I'm the board chairman, my father reminded him coldly. And more importantly, I'm Maya's father. Now get out. Ryan's face contorted with rage. He pointed at me, voice lowered to a threatening hiss. This isn't over. That flash drive won't help you. There are backups, contingencies, which the FDA and Medical Ethics Board will be very interested in, came Aiden's voice as he stepped forward from where he'd been observing nearby. Along with the recorded confession on Dr. Shah's phone from your conversation earlier this evening. Ryan's gaze darted between us, the realization of complete defeat dawning in his eyes. Without another word, he turned and stalked toward the exit. As his figure disappeared through the sliding doors, my father turned to me. Maya, I owe you an apology. I should have. Not here, Dad, I said gently. We'll talk later. Right now, I have a patient to attend to. He nodded, understanding. As he walked away, Aiden moved closer, his hand finding mine. Are you okay? He asked softly. I looked down at our intertwined fingers, then up at his concerned face. No, I admitted honestly. But I will be. 1 year later, I stood in examination room 3, performing an ultrasound on a very different patient. There, I said, pointing to the screen. Your baby's heartbeat. Aiden leaned closer, wonder in his eyes as he watched our child's heart pulsing steadily on the monitor. It's beautiful, he whispered, squeezing my hand. I smiled, thinking of the journey that had brought us here. Ryan was facing medical fraud charges. Walker Pharmaceuticals had collapsed under regulatory scrutiny. Sophia had delivered a healthy boy and was building a new life across the country. And I had found something I never expected when walking into that examination room 1 year ago. The truth that set me free and the love that helped me rebuild. Yes, I agreed, looking at both the screen and the man beside me. It really is.